Hey partners, welcome back to the Go Show. This is your daily dose of crypto using my stories for your investment. And this is the third part of our three-part series called What is Your Problem? Relationships. When it comes to relationships, there are relationships with your family, your relationships with money, your relationships with your peers, office mates, friends, relatives. But what I believe is most important is your relationship with yourself. And that's why there is an art they call the art of self-talk, because every day you talk to yourself, you convince yourself on how to go about your day, how to succeed in life, how to motivate yourself, and a lot of it is with the power of self-talk. And that's normal. And for me, this episode, we will attempt to talk about the mindset of these champions, the icons in the area of sports, since I love sports, and many of you also love sports. And we'll talk about three important sportsmen. And with that, there's Michael Jordan, there's Kobe Bryant, and also there's Manny Pacquiao. And today, I'd like to attempt to answer that question: are champions made or are champions born? So this is what we will answer today in our episode. Let's start with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was selected as the number 13th pick of the 1996 NBA draft. While he was much touted in his high school days, his pick of going as low as number 13 showed that the scouts had a lot of worries and issues when it comes to the superstar potential of Kobe Bryant. But despite that, executives of the Los Angeles Lakers saw innate ability and potential of Kobe Bryant, and that is why he was traded for Vlade Divac, another notable LA Laker, and they made a big gamble on the potential of Kobe Bryant. They saw so much potential that they were labeling him as either becoming the next Michael Jordan superstar of the NBA or another bust because of his attitude. But then what I can say, the lesson that I can see with Kobe Bryant is that he had that underdog mindset of him, that he was not favored in the NBA. That's why he had to work hard. He was one of the hardest workers in practice and in the NBA, and he had so much audacity in him that he knew that for him to become great, he had to learn from the greatest himself. And you saw it when he was seen going and texting Michael Jordan and asking, like Michael Jordan calling him, how did you predict the defense on how this person would make this move or that move? And then because of his confidence and audacity of Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan had no other recourse but to give him the secrets and share with him the secrets. All the way that I think it irritated Michael Jordan that what is this person trying to be? He's trying too hard to become so popular and so good at the sport that, you could see it with Kobe Bryant in his first 2-3 years that he was being booed by the Lakers. The fans didn't like him. And while he was given 18-20 minute playtime, he was complaining every day like, how come this person gets more playtime than me? How come this Nick Van Exel and Eddie Jones are getting all the limelight? I'm better than them. Why am I not given the playtime? But then he had to learn the ropes. He had to build his position in the team from the bottom. And then he also had to learn the hard way. I remember in the playoffs, that was in, I think, 1997 or 98, they were going up against the Utah Jazz. And they were almost swept in the playoffs. And you could see Kobe Bryant, throwing air balls in the fourth quarter, unprecedented. And people were seeing like, oh, this young kid, he had so much potential, but then he's a dud. But what people did not realize is that their coaches saw, hey, Kobe, you're trying too hard. You have to build your stamina. You have to build your strength so that by the time you reach the playoffs, you wouldn't gas out at the last minute and throw air balls when the team needs you the most. Because people don't see that the training. They see how you perform at the last stages of the game. And when they see that you're throwing air balls, they would see that you're choking. But even though that your heart is in it and you're committed, That is one lesson that I saw. And in the documentary of Kobe Bryant, he had to admit that while his teammates did not like him, what he needed to focus on is that lesson of focusing on the controllables. And he had to work hard. Before, in high school, he thought that he only needed to spend 2-3 hours a day in practice. And then he showed his resiliency that despite the criticism by the media, criticism by his own teammates, with Shaquille O'Neal and the others, he had to prove it and do it his way, which is to have that commitment, innate confidence, and resiliency, and also that hard work will pay off down the road. And you'd see that years after he became an all-star, and soon after, within his first 3-4 years, he's already a champion together with Shaquille O'Neal. And in fact, Shaquille O'Neal, while he was A1, Kobe Bryant became A2. And the two of them became like a dynamic duo. And right now, it's unprecedented for you to have a three-peat, and they were able to do it. Not just a back-to-back championship, but back-to-back-to-back championship. And I think this story is an example that we resonate with. And later on, I'll explain and share how that story relates to me. So the lesson here is that in the NBA, everybody is talented. Everybody is good. They were scouted, they made it to the NBA. But not everyone has the work ethic to be a champion. And champions know that work ethic is a controllable. The second story, which is very close to the heart of the Filipino, is Manny Pacquiao. Just like many Filipinos, many of us are underdogs. You won't see many Filipinos going up there as CEOs in the biggest corporations around the world in many industries. The main stereotype is the Filipinos are hard workers, but they're not at the seasoned C-level arena, whether it's in corporations, in businesses, or even in sports. But one person who made it to the top of sports, and not any other sport, but the sport that attracts millions and millions of dollars, is boxing. When it comes to boxing, who do we remember the most? Is it Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali? It's Floyd Mayweather Jr. And there is one and only in Asia, in the Philippines, Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao. Pacquiao is one of the highest paid athletes for a number of years, from the period of 2008 all the way to 2015, all the way to even in his 40s, 2019, he was earning well above $20 million a year. But in order for him to reach that point, he was the underdog at the very beginning stages of his career. And he started as a seller of cigarettes and going to like boxing gyms, and he had to even put on stones on his pocket to make weight. For others, they had to shed weight. For him, he had to add weight. And then when he went to the United States, he had this view that the only way for him to win is to not leave it to the judges. And you know what he said is, the only way for me to win is to knock out my opponent. And he went out there in America as one of the undercards of Mike Tyson and De La Hoya's matches. And when he went there, he knocked out one of the premier flyweights and featherweights around the world. And that one is when he started to make a statement. And then later on, he was a replacement for a match of Marco Antonio Barrera. That person defeated Eric Morales. He was a hero of Mexico. And Manny Pacquiao was just a replacement. He was only getting paid at that time $400,000, which is like equivalent to 14 million pesos. Nobody knew. He was a 3-1 underdog to get defeated by Barrera. But then you could see it in the first 2 rounds. There was a slip, but then the referee ruled it a knockdown against Pacquiao. Pacquiao got so frustrated. He was so mad that 11th round, it was a total domination of the Filipino against the Mexican. And right then and there, he became a superstar. Years after, Manny Pacquiao was called and labeled the Mexican assassin. Mexicans, from them hating Pacquiao, they ended up loving him because even the Mexicans saw the story of the underdog having that knockout mentality. And one thing that I learned from Manny Pacquiao is that he also learned the ropes and had to listen and improve, upgrade his game. And this Freddie Roach, who had Parkinson's disease, said that the moment he saw Manny Pacquiao, he saw that this person, if I am able to train him and help him improve and become more scientific in his game, he will become an all-time great. And he actually exceeded the expectations of even Freddie Roach. From a left hook, he developed his Manila Ice, which is his touted right hand. And what I can learn from Manny Pacquiao is that you can come from a developing world, but you can defeat everyone. No one can stop it. Nothing is impossible. And in this case, in the Go Show and the Go and Partners Validator, I might be the underdog, but I will rest assured I will not stop until I will become a champion myself. Ultimate lesson here from Manny Pacquiao, my main takeaway is that Manny understood himself. He knew he came from an impoverished family. He came from Mindanao, a war-torn area of the Philippines. He knew his roots, but he also knew his DNA. He in himself had the heart of a champion. He knew that being a Filipino, it would be very hard for him to succeed in boxing. But that's why Manny developed the knockout mentality. And that is the main lesson here. Not everybody is on the same level playing field. Some people are ahead. Some people have the pedigree. They can start from above. They were groomed to be great, but somebody from below can actually defeat you. And that is the greatness of Manny Pacquiao. He had to grow through many obstacles. But with Manny Pacquiao, he was so hyper-focused, so determined. The spirit of determination of Manny Pacquiao was able to obliterate all the obstacles he had to go through. And he knew he had to shatter all these obstacles. And in the end, obstacle is the way, and his DNA and his spirit of determination was the way for him to be the champion. And last but not the least, the third story is about the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the man who made and built the NBA and the Nike Jordan brand, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Why? Michael Jordan is the NBA. Michael Jordan is Nike. But for him to be able to reach that point, everybody knew Jordan was what? The third draft pick in the 1984 draft. When he first started, he was already scoring 28, 30 points a game. He already, in his rookie year, even in college, he already hit that winning shot. He had a championship mindset and pulse. When the going gets tough, in the last minute and last second, he was clutch. For me, Michael Jordan, without a shadow of doubt, is the greatest basketball player, even athlete ever. He never failed at the highest stages of competitive sports. He is not LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal, none of the other players. It's not even a question. Because when I was a kid, when I was watching Michael Jordan, he never failed me. He made me believe that he can do the impossible. But now with LeBron, I see him choking. I see Kobe choking. I even see Manny Pacquiao also losing. But Jordan was like, it's like almost impossible what he did. But for him to reach that point, I was there in Michael Jordan's time when he was already at the top of his game. But not many people knew that in the 80s when he first started, he was also losing year after year after year for 7 consecutive seasons. Before he started the game, he knew he would score 50 on this person or on that person. He even said that he was going to the gym, and in some games, some of his teammates were actually on cocaine. He had to actually wait for so many years until he learned that the only way for him to reach that epitome and that champion and beat the Lakers and the Detroit Pistons, which was a big hurdle for him, was to trust his teammates. Later on, because they were losing every year, they were getting all these draft picks, and one of their most touted draft pick is Scottie Pippen. And that moment, I think they were able to cross over was when in the late 90s, they were able to defeat the bad boys, Detroit Pistons. And from there, the ultimate turning point and breakthrough moment of Jordan was when he had to learn the system of Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson had the most famous triangle offense. At the beginning, Jordan did not believe in it, but then he was able to show it in the late stages, and they were up against one of the best teams. I believe it was the Phoenix Suns. And then they were on the second, third overtime. And for them to defeat the opponent Phoenix Suns, which had that MVP, Charles Barkley of that season, Jordan had to listen to Phil. And Phil said one thing, "Jordan, who's open?" And Jordan immediately, did what could never be possible at that time. He passed the ball. He passed the ball to the open man, Paxson. And with Paxson, he made that famous three-point shot. And that was the clincher for them to win that three-peat. And you know what's amazing with Jordan is that after that first three-peat, when it came to that second three-peat, he was again up against Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz. And the games were all grinding, very close games. And then in game 6 of the second championship against Utah Jazz, he was the one. It came from himself during the timeout. He said to Steve Kerr, he made that eye contact, "I'm going to pass the ball to you." And you could see it with Steve Kerr. He knew the ball was going to get passed. When Jordan was double teamed, he passed the ball to Steve Kerr. And it was a repeat of what happened from his first three-peat. But this time, it came from him. He became that player coach. And one thing that I could say with Jordan, he reached that stage of unbeatable side of Jordan because he became a player coach. He became that player that everybody feared, everybody believed in. Everyone in his team knew that they were going to win that championship. He also did the impossible 72-10 game world record, regular season record of the Chicago Bulls. It was only recently broken by the Golden State Warriors. In that season, the Golden State also got beaten by the Cleveland Cavaliers. No one can beat Jordan. And I think Phil Jackson was the man behind the scenes. And for him, the ultimate lesson, I believe, with Jordan is that for him to become the greatest of all time, it wouldn't happen just with his DNA, just with his competitive spirit, and also the controllables. One thing that he had to learn, to have the humility to be coachable. And him becoming coachable was necessary for him to reach that top and to become the greatest athlete of all time. In the end, Michael Jordan was asked, "Are you still the greatest of all time?" 20, 30 years after, Michael Jordan would say it's up to the people to determine and talk about who is the greatest of all time. But for me, I will continue to work hard. I will continue to improve my game. I have that DNA, and I'm a person who is coachable right till this day. And you can see it with Michael Jordan. As a businessman, Michael Jordan is still at the top of his game. Now, let's answer the question, are champions made or are champions born? My answer to that is both. Champions are both born and champions are made. When you are born on this earth, everybody is trained every day. Your commitment, desire can come from your upbringing as a child. I showed you 3 different stories from 3 different backgrounds. You may have the talent, you may have the inner confidence in you, but you need to work hard and you need to believe in yourself. And again, it's all about your relationship with yourself. Most of these athletes have that power and secret of self-talk. They don't come up with excuses. They come up with solutions. And for me, a lot of it is about preparation. For me, to be in the space of cryptocurrency, to be from a developing country of the Philippines, to be, whether it's in the XRP, Coreum, Ripple, Bitcoin, so many different spaces in the cryptocurrency and financial services scene, there will be so many people who think, I'm just the newbie. I'm a person from down below. You just entered the picture late in the game. It doesn't matter what people think. What others think of me is none of my business. What I will focus on is my goal. My goals are very clear. I want to be the leader in Asia for the Go and Partners Validator. I want to promote and be the voice of the people, to represent the disadvantaged, to end poverty, violence, hunger, and discrimination. I want to be that symbol of hope for the people, that there is a chance for them to be a figurehead just like a Manny Pacquiao, but in this space of financial services. But for that to happen, I cannot just declare it in my mind. I need to prepare every day. And it starts also with me and also with preparation. That's why every day, what do? I research. I wake up every day having a very fixed schedule. When I wake up every day, I wake up at 4 or 5 a.m. When I wake up, I read up on news, prepare what I need to focus on that day. I have my regular routine. It's the same as like an athlete having a rigid schedule, training few hours in a day. The same thing with me. I train using my mind and also looking at opportunities. What is happening in the cryptocurrency space? What are the regulators talking about? What is Coreum deploying today? What are they working on in terms of marketing? Are they preparing to be announced? An example could be a bridge of Coreum to other blockchains, or a new development outfit building on the Coreum network. I want to stay ahead and to know what is new so that I can share it with my community. And also preparation is also preparation of the mind. There's a constant flow of challenges that can distract us every day, and I would always convince and talk to myself out of anything that could distract me from what I need to accomplish on that specific day. For me to become that great, I see that what's important is not just that inner desire that I have, the preparation on the content, on what I need to post. Every day I promise to post a Go Show snippet and reel, and I always have up to 3 videos that I can post at any day, from Facebook, YouTube, to Instagram, to Twitter or X Spaces, or even studying new technologies and new social media platforms, always learning, and always know that for me to reach that point, I also need to learn from others in the space. So I could see, hey, in this crypto space, there are a few influencers that also began from the bottom. I saw that there are others even in the Philippines. Could be Jared Dillinger, whom I met recently from a coins.ph event. There's also international known key opinion leaders in the space. Even in the Coreum space, you see Zen as one of the leading or number 1 community validator of Coreum. And also we see digital asset investor, Crypto Airy, and many others. I try to emulate. How can I learn from them, be different, be myself, be unique in myself, and still execute and provide value to the community? One thing that I can also share with you is also being able to be coachable, learning from mentors who can guide me. Albert, this is where you're good at. How can you still be yourself and still learn how to trust others and build your team? I've learned not to do everything just by myself, but also trust and recruit people to join my cause and give me advice on what to say, what topics to feature, who to interview. These are all born not just out of my own thinking, but also a meeting of the minds. I have a very good team now working behind me, and these are all like former overseas Filipino workers, people who share the same underdog spirit with me. Some of them are executives also from the banking and finance sector in industry. I talk to these people who share with me what they think I should be talking about to build the Go Show, the brand of Albert Go. And it's been a journey for me for the past 6 months. And the next that I would like to share is preparation and also planning and setting goals. So goals is one thing. So I always have that goal. I will never stop until I could reach my ceiling and potential. And there are many motivating factors for Jordan. Is he likes it when he has a clear opponent that he wants to defeat, like the enemy. For him, it's the enemy and the devil, his nemesis. For me, it's also the same. If I'm the underdog and I see that others could be favored over me, I will be number 1 at the end of the day. No one can stop me. Because for me, when I have that winning attitude, I will focus on my controllables. I will not rant. I will focus on what I can do and is deliver. I may not be number 1 now, but I will reach that part because I know nothing is impossible. And that is my main lesson here for the Go and Partners, Validator, and the Go Show, representing not just the 110 million Filipinos, but representing Asians, this area of the East. Many of us are mistaken, misunderstood. But for me to be that voice, to be that person to represent the Coreum blockchain, I need to be able to do my best and not fail these people. For me to be able to do that is I need to be at the top of my game. And I have that determination in me. And I have that confidence in me that I will reach that point. And that's why today, this short episode that we have, I hope you really enjoyed it. Share your thoughts in the comment section to share this episode, this podcast, this venture and storytelling of mine. If you're able to be inspired and share this to your friends, loved ones, I would really appreciate it. I believe that this journey of cryptocurrency is inevitable. Many of you are not aware, but this is Web3. This is the .com era of the 90s will be supplanted by this Web3 blockchain era of AI, new technologies, smart contracts, smart cities, and in the future we'll talk about that. That's why I'm excited to share my knowledge and enthusiasm with you. For me, I have the competitiveness and that innate drive in me to succeed. Number 2 is obstacle is the way. You can never escape and run away from obstacles in order for you to become the champion. Number 3 is for me to reach that peak performance and champion, I need to also be coachable. You notice that in this episode, I talk about relationships. You may have thought that relationships is about me talking about my relationship with others, family, peers, colleagues, and friends in the crypto space. But no, I talk about first my relationship with myself. Because my philosophy is the way I deal with myself, my relationship with myself is what I will use to be my relationship with others in the community. And that's why you could see it in this episode. The heart of a champion is first your self-mastery of your relationship with yourself. And that is the ultimate lesson today. Be the best that you could be. Because having the heart of a champion is contagious. So that's why in the Go Show, in the Go and Partners Validator, I always have that winning mindset. And I believe that this winning mindset will catapult me to that level of a champion. So that concludes our episode today, the third part of our 3-part series, What is Your Problem? And I'm very excited to give you episode 11, which is titled, Learn First by Starting Now. See you on our next episode.